Good morning. Today for our prelude, we're going to be doing number 318, We Would Be One, which is in the Gray Hymnal.
Good morning and welcome to worship at First Unitarian Church of Orlando. I'm Samuel Shaw, transition minister, and so happy to have you and all here this morning. In the words of Monica Jacobson Tennyson, welcome. What you bring, who you are, enriches us all. We say welcome to your joy, your hope, your pride. We say welcome to your grief, your fear, your anger, and the parts of you that are not yet ready to be seen and heard. Welcome to them as well. May this time together be a blessing. Indeed, may it be. For more information on our congregation, go to our website, orlandouu.org, or email welcometeam@orlandouu.org. We're happy you're here today. Today, after this worship service at 11:30, we have our usual 2 after worship events. All are invited to informal fellowship to gather and to go into smaller breakout rooms and chat for about 20 minutes or so. And if you are new and have questions about this congregation or our faith tradition, please join our Welcome Center. We'll be happy to meet you and get to know you. Each of these sessions has a separate Zoom meeting number, as you see here, and we'll repeat this at the end of the service. Today, we have a special message from our church's Ministerial Search Committee. Here's Elizabeth Horn.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Horn, and I'm here as a grateful member of the 1U Ministerial Search Committee. And we want to take this moment to recognize the 98 of you that have already completed your congregational survey. This survey is so valuable to us as we launch our search because we want to know how our members, visitors, and staff members view our congregation and what you think we need in our next settled minister. So, if you haven't filled out the survey, please head over to the 1U website and click on the Minister Search tab. From there, you can complete the survey online or download and print a hard copy of the survey. We also have hard copies at the church or available by mail, and we can also help you complete it over the phone. We want to make the survey as accessible to you as possible because we value your voice. Thank you so much for completing your survey by September 10th. And again, my name is Elizabeth Horn. If you have any questions or if I can help you along the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We're gearing up for another church year beginning in September. So 2 weeks from today, we'll have our traditional in-gathering worship service. And after that service will be the church's traditional volunteer opportunity fiesta online this year, of course, where you'll find information to help you find your place in this church, perhaps to heed a call that you may be having of serving. Stay tuned for more information on the fiesta and how to access that Zoom event. As always, check your weekend update that came in your Friday email for details on all the many activities of the church, or go online to our website and toward the bottom of the home page you'll find this week's weekly update. I've been a Unitarian Universalist now for just about 35 years. 35 years ago in another city, I wandered into that city's first Unitarian church and discovered a community and a faith tradition that helped me be more of who I already was, to lead me into a life of more integrity, more depth, and more connection. So it's important that I contribute to our faith tradition. As a transitional minister, I go from place to place, usually 2 years at a time, and in every settlement, I give a portion of my compensation to the church that I serve. Part of the discipline of being a Unitarian Universalist is giving back. So it's important to me that we support the many ministries of this church. If you'd like to make an offering or give a gift to support the ministries, go to orlandouu.org, click the donate button up in the upper right-hand corner, or send a text, or the old-fashioned way, send a check to the church office. It's great being together in worship. Now, let's gather.
Our opening hymn is sung by the women of the Corona Quartet, number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song, or sometimes called, How Can I Keep From Singing?
My life flows on in endless song, above its lamentation. I hear the real, the far-off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest roll me on in endless storm above the ground? What though the dawn I hear the ringing low, far off hymn it giveth? No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When no shame or undefiled. How can I keep from singing?
How can I keep from singing?
How can I keep? How can I keep from singing?
Hi, we're the Horns. I'm Mary Ann, and I'm at home here in Orlando. And with me is
Cami Horn. I'm at Florida Gulf Coast University right now, which is in Fort Myers. I'm starting my freshman year as a music therapy major too. This chalice that I have is from General Assembly in Spokane, Washington. It was given to me from my adult advisor when I was on the GA youth staff as the junior business manager. I cannot light the candle right now since it's broken, but I can light it in my heart.
So the chalice that I have here, I call it a chalice with a small c because it's not really a UU chalice, but it is a chalice type vessel that was given to me by a friend when I was in college. And I'm so glad Cami is off on her first year. I hope she makes good friends like I did, that some have lasted a lifetime, even though we miss her here at home. Cami and I have been lighting chalices together since she was in the preschool class at RE. So this is something we love to do together. Unitarian Universalists light the chalice before a service to give us a space for worship. So I'm going to light the flame in my chalice, and Cami's going to say the familiar words.
In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share.
These words of Barbara Merritt call us to worship. Unitarian Universalists have said for centuries that there is room in our religion for all seekers. Skeptics and poets and scientists are welcome here, as are nonconformist and shy and uncertain folk. We believe that restlessness and doubt are a sign of grace, and that the love of truth is the holiest of gifts. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning, I'm Heather Coddington, nursery coordinator here at First Unitarian Church of Orlando. Today we are reading a story called All Are Welcome. It's about a classroom in a school where families of all types, sizes, colors, and backgrounds are all accepted, a place where they all feel welcome. This is a value that we, as Unitarian Universalists, also strive for. We want to be a place of worship, a place of community where all feel welcome. This feeling of welcomeness is one reason that people may choose to come to our church. Join me today as we read our story and celebrate the diversity in our own community. All Are Welcome by Alexandra Penfold and Suzanne Kaufman. Pencils sharpened in their case, bells are ringing, let's make haste. School's beginning, dreams to chase. All are welcome here. No matter how you start your day, what you wear when you play, or if you come from far away, all are welcome here. In our classroom, safe and sound, fears are lost and hope is found. Raise your hand, we'll go around. All are welcome here. Gather now, let's all take part. We'll play music, we'll make art. We'll share stories from the heart. All are welcome here. Time for lunch, what a spread. A dozen different kinds of bread. Pass it around till everyone's fed. All are welcome here. Open doors, rush outside. We will swing, we will slide. We'll have fun side by side. All are welcome here. We're part of a community. Our strength is our diversity, a shelter from adversity. All are welcome here. We will learn from each other. Special talents we'll uncover. There's a big world to discover. All are welcome. So much to learn, so much to do, and when the busy day is through, can't wait to come back, start anew. All are welcome here. Head for home to get some rest and greet tomorrow, ready and fresh. Our time together is best. All are welcome here. You have a place here. You have a space here. You are welcome here.
We set aside time in our worship for the hearing of joys and concerns in the world and in our community. This last week in the world, we mourn yet another shooting of a black man by police, this time in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Jacob Blake was left paralyzed from the waist down after being shot at least 7 times in the back while he was getting into his car. And then later came the news that 2 protesters were killed by an armed citizen. We witnessed to the ongoing work of anti-racism, to peaceful protests, to justice for both Mr. Blake and the murdered protesters. And this week we remember all those in the path of destruction of Hurricane Laura at the Gulf Coast in Louisiana. And locally in our own congregation, we celebrate our own Nikki Drum, who was part of a design team who won a recent award from the Florida Festivals and Events Association. They got a sensational award for a banner designed in 2019 at Fusion Fest. Fusion Fest is a program that celebrates the cultural diversity of Central Florida. And as always, we remember the unspoken concerns of our hearts, and we know that the love of this community reflects the light of the sacred, which shines into the dark and broken places of our lives. And now let's take a deep breath together, mindful that in this simple act we declare our interdependence with each other and with all throughout our days. And now, let's sing to open our hearts.
Our centering hymn is number 1054 in the Teal hymnal. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace, of nature and humanity, of sorrow and elation. Let this be our house, a haven for the healing, an open room for question and our inspiration. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace.
In a moment when we go into the silence, I'll invite you to use either Facebook comments or Zoom chat to name anyone who needs prayer, remembering, or honoring in our communion of names. With so much swirling in the world, swirling in our hearts, we center ourselves now in the sanctuary of our souls. Hear these words from Bill Singford. Our vision of the beloved community must stand against a vision that would allow the privilege of the few to be accepted as just and even holy. Our religious vision must again and again ask, who is our neighbor? And strive always to include more and more of us. As we intone the words that gave birth to this nation, we, the people, we are, and we should be, both a gentle and an angry people. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, we pray for those who are hurting in any manner of body, mind, spirit, or community. Especially, we pray for justice, for strength in these days of continued violence against Black lives, and those who advocate and witness for Black lives. We affirm vision, persistence, good trouble as needed, and ultimately, peace and justice for all. Now we take the meditations of our hearts into the silence and the communion of names. And so it is, and so we pray. Amen. Blessed be.
Today's anthem is from the musical Company by Stephen Sondheim. Being Alive. Somebody hold me too close. Somebody hurt me too deep. Somebody sit in my chair and ruin my sleep and make me aware of being alive. Being alive. Somebody need me too much. Somebody know me too well. Somebody pull me up short and put me through hell and give me support for being alive. Being alive. Make me alive. Make me confused, shower me with praise, let me be used, vary my days, but alone is alone, not alive. Somebody crowd me with love. Somebody force me to care. Somebody make me come through. I'll always be there, as frightened as you, to help us survive. Being alive. Being alive. Being alive.
We're trying something new this morning, conversations. Here you'll see two conversations. Neil Boris interviews Mike Mataluni, and Sarah Gray interviews Alexisandria Tichy Reese. Hope you enjoy.
Michael, it is good to be with you, as always, my friend. And our mandate here is to talk about why Unitarian Universalism.
Right.
And
Beautiful.
All right, it's a great mandate. You and I met through 1U. We've become good friends. It's great to see you as always. And it's been a joy to mix our families together. But of course, we showed up at this church for whatever reasons. And, I'm going to kick it to you. Why Unitarian Universalism?
Yeah, well, first of all, I was raised Catholic, and I spent a lot of time in the Catholic Church. And there were things about the Catholic Church that weren't for me.
Yeah.
One of the things that I find so amazing about Unitarian Universalism is the non-doctrine. I've spent so much time studying Buddhism and Taoism, and I was really, anti-organized religion for so long. And it wasn't until we had our kids and my wife and I were really looking for a community of people who were like-minded, who were progressive, who believed that we could make change and improve not only our own lives, but other people's lives. And so we started looking into Unitarian Universalism, and I started studying the history and the background. And, everything that I read resonated so deeply with me. And for, to be able to have that connection with an organized religion was not something I expected or even entertained the possibility of.
Yeah.
But once I finally found it, and once we embraced the community and brought our kids in, and we started making friends with people like you, and, it just proved to me that I was in the right place when I started finding the people who were who I resonated with and who my family resonated with, and we could have amazing times together and at the same time be working towards similar goals and ideals.
It's funny, yours is a story I think that a lot of people can resonate with. The walk away from organized religious practice and then the walk back toward it in the form of our UU selves. What made you walk back toward? Can you even put that into words? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for us, it was family. It was our kids. We needed a community of people to be surrounded by, and it's very difficult to find that in today's society. And for us as parents, for us as people, we needed connection. We needed people who could connect with us and we could connect with and go to barbecues and do those things while at the same time having something deep that connects us and moving in the same direction. That I love this. There's this quote about what is love, and it's not two people staring deeply into each other's eyes. It's looking in the same direction. And I think that when we came into the Unitarian Church, that was something that we got, and we got it quickly.
Yeah. And what I think is important about what you're saying, and it resonates with me as well, and you and I've had these conversations in a sense.
Yeah.
It's not just community. Community is important and there's huge value in it. But it is faith, right? There is something around which we are forming the community that has meaning.
Right.
Even if it's not the same as some traditional religious practices, right?
Right. Well, yeah, and for me, it doesn't have to be necessarily a spiritual faith. For me, it's humanism, right?
Yeah,
It's what can we do to improve the lives of ourselves and our fellow human beings, and the connection between that and social justice and figuring out where we can actually make a difference in the world, I think is key to me. And I can't stand the idea of doctrine. I really am passionate about looking into wisdom and figuring out what are the things that we can learn from past religious organizations. What are the things that we can learn from the people who came before us? And I think Unitarian Universalism does such a phenomenal job of bringing those things together, allowing you as an individual to really seek, right? To really seek and be sustained. And I think that for me, that's the value. And, it is about community, but it's also about having the support to look deeply into one's own nature and to figure out how that, sociologically affects other people.
Yeah. It's funny what you say about doctrine, dogma, creed. Our 7 principles walk you away from that ground in a sense. And I think you're saying, as I believe, that's really important. It's an important part of what it means to be UU.
Absolutely. And then, I really enjoy the history as well. I really appreciate the Unitarians and the Universalists and how they came from very different places, right?
Yeah.
So you have a very, you have a proletariat, and then you have a group of people who are, higher in society. And the fact that they came together and formed Unitarian Universalism, I think that really speaks to the humanism that I appreciate so much about Unitarian Universalism, because it's not about rich or poor. It's not about black or white. It's about connecting on our most human levels. And I think Unitarian Universalism does such a tremendous job of that, that it helps me really connect with the organization and its principles.
Full circle to social justice, right? You just walk the full circle back to that unifying theme.
Right, exactly.
Mike, always a pleasure to talk with you, man. And it's hard in the pandemic to get our families together. We don't live so far apart, and yet here we are. And I think, again, what a neat thing that we have this kind of structure to hold us, right? It's another angle on what we were talking about.
Well, yeah, and it's the opportunity, no matter what gets in our way. I think that's really what's so profound about us, figuring, even this Zoom call that we're having right now, right? It's nothing can keep us apart, nothing can keep us from our goals, and the alignment is there, regardless of whether or not we can physically shake hands. But the mental and the emotional and the spiritual connection is always there.
Right there. Now, I will give you a hug when it's okay. But in the meantime,
we'll just do an air hug.
Yeah, let's do the Zoom thing.
Air hug it out.
Peace, Michael. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. We're doing all right over here. Well, thanks for taking some time to meet with me today. We are, like we've talked about before, we're just going to take a few minutes and kind of just hear your story about how you came to be involved in the UU Church and why, how old are you now? 16?
I'm 16, yes.
As a 16-year-old, why you still choose to come and be involved in the different parts of Unitarian Universalism. So, why don't you just take a moment and introduce yourself to everyone and just tell us your story of how you came to be involved in this congregation in Unitarian Universalism.
All right. So I'm Alexisandria, and I'm 16, as I said before. I live in Sanford, Florida right now, and I became a UU when I pretty much was born into it, because my mom has been a UU since she was a teenager. So when I was born, we just started going to a UU church. I've always felt really heard and accepted in the UU church. So I think that's why I've stuck by it this whole time. I think I'm going to stay in the UU church. I like it how it's like, they're very, how do I say this? There's a lot of equality in UU churches. They accept everyone, and I really love that about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a very similar upbringing. I started going to the UU church when I was about 5 years old and never really left. Had a couple of lulls, in my early 20s, so I didn't go as much. But yeah, I resonate very much with that backstory. So what do you enjoy the most about being a Unitarian Universalist? You kind of touched on that a little bit, but is there a time where you felt really good about this faith tradition, or you just a great memory of a time you had at an event or a church service as a kid or more recently?
When I was younger, when I went to church, or when I lived in Iowa, we did a yearly pageant, and we performed it in front of everyone for like Christmas time, like the holidays around like that time of year. And it was like very formal because we dressed up, we rehearsed. It was really fun. I did it every year. And I just remember when I was little, I was like one of the sheep. Yeah, I was one of the sheep. And then when I grew up a little bit more, I became like, I had a speaking role, and I kept like going up into the acting for that. It was really fun.
Yeah, and just this year in this congregation, you got to be our Mary in our Christmas pageant. So you kind of came full circle for you. That's really cool. Have you faced any challenges being, identifying as a Unitarian Universalist, among your peers or the community, at school or elsewhere in your life outside of your family and your church community?
Yeah, when I lived in California for 2 years, I told my friends, I was like, yeah, I'm a UU. And they're like, what is that? And I explained it to them. And they were like, that's weird. I don't like that. I don't believe in that. And I'm like, that's your belief. It's okay. Doesn't mean I'm going to change who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely hear that. I've been through similar things, growing up in, a more traditional Christian community. I was one of the only UU kids at my school in high school. So yeah, I definitely remember those feelings and still feel them to some extent. So, you grew up in the church, and you still come back. You still, a lot of times when kids your age get to, the age where they have a little, they're not forced into the car every Sunday by their parents, you have a little more agency in where and how you could choose to worship. So why, after all these years, do you choose to still be Unitarian Universalist?
I choose to be a Unitarian Universalist because I feel pretty connected to it because I've grew up with it pretty much. But another main reason is that I don't really believe in like a specific God or anything. And I think the UU church is like pretty good about accepting anyone pretty much. And in like other churches, I feel like I'd be forced to believe something that I don't believe in. But I really feel like it's like somewhere I belong at the UU church.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling very well. I remember myself when I was in high school, like we had to write a paper about something, and I chose to write about Unitarian Universalism and learned all about, our history and the fact that we don't have a dogma or a creed that we kind of follow. So, yeah, I like how it gives young folks and folks of all ages the opportunity to kind of forge their own spiritual path. So what do you kind of see for your future in terms of your spiritual path? Like any next steps you want to take, or more areas in which you want to grow?
What do you mean that way?
Oh, like you want to learn more about like our different sources. Like I want to learn more about Buddhism, or I want to practice my faith in action, through social justice projects, or, it could be nothing, and just see where the next step takes you, just curious where you see your kind of next step in the journey might bring you.
Well, I've actually been like really interested in like Wiccan and paganism. So I've been doing like a lot of research about that, and my mom knows some about it. So I've been talking to her about that. And I know we have a group at our church that is, I think, pagan. It's a pagan group. Yeah. I kind of wish there was more teenagers in it, but I think I might check it out sometime.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. There's always room for folks in all our different groups. So yeah. All right, great. Well, thank you so much for taking this time to talk with me today, and I look forward to seeing you again online in the near future, and hopefully in person sometime.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much.
The closing hymn is number 1017, Building a New Way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
So now we're going to extinguish the chalice. I'm going to blow it out, and Cammie's going to say the words.
We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Thanks, hon. I'm glad we could do this together. Have a good week. Love you.
Thank you.
Remember, my friends, we haven't just been to church. We are the church. And when the church is the church, it is nothing more, it is nothing less, it is nothing other than building a new way in the world, in our community, and in the world, for peace, love, justice, and truth. This week in all you do, be the church. Go in grace. Amen.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.